Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective podcast. This is episode number 317. If you are keeping score at home, not that the number means anything at all. And this is Uncommon Fossil, joined by 10 types, as always.
Yep. Hello, everyone.
And we're recording on the week that this is coming out the week that Black Bolt and White Flare will be releasing internationally, right? They're already out in Japan. Am I right about that?
Yeah, and I believe they're essentially the same sets. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if there's really any substantial differences. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, normally what happens, the big difference this time is, of course, we're getting Japan. There's two sets, two like mini sets or special sets, but we're getting both sets released like separately. Usually they get combined together for one set internationally. So I guess this is a special one-off thing. Unless this is a new trend, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Ultimately, though, for us, we're just taking a look at them together here. I know on my channel, at least, I've done some videos on them separately, but functionally, they're pretty much the same. So they can be lumped together. And today, we're going over the top 10 cards from the set. We've each created a top 10 list, and we're going to take a look at each other's and compare them and figure out what we think the top 10 cards are and why they are what they are, why the rest cards are really good, and just take a look at that.
Yeah, so looking forward to it. There's definitely some good cards in the set. I think there's not a ton of great cards. Like I think to me, when we get down towards the bottom of the top 10, there's still cards that have value. I mean, there's a lot of cards with value. There's not a lot of overpowered cards, which I think is a good thing all in all too.
Yeah. We'll take a look. But I'm going to open up your top 10. I think you're going to open up mine now, and we're going to take a look.
Yep. So I'm.
Oh, okay. I see what you've done here. Okay. This is interesting. So let's just go down. Do you want to name them and then decide what we want to talk about after?
You mean go through our top tens?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got Air Balloon 1, and shall I go with where it is on your list as well?
Sure.
No?
Yeah.
Which you also have as 1. So agreement there. I have Tool Scrapper 2, which is a 2 for you as well. We're starting off the same. Brave Bangle 3, and these are trainer cards. There's some good trainer cards. You have Hilt. Oh, I have 4 is Prism Energy on mine, which you have down at 6 on yours.
Yep.
So okay, I mean, we both think it's good, but obviously a meaningful difference. I have Ignition Energy 5, and so do you. So we're agreement on that energy. We both have Electric in. No, I have it in 6. You have Electric in 7. So close there. We both have Jellicent in 7. So right.
Yeah. Yes. Oh no, sorry.
Yeah.
I have an 8. They look
you
the
have
same.
An 8.
Yeah, I have it in 8.
Yeah.
Jellicent EX. I will say, so I'm going to jump out in yours. You have Frillish at 9. I just had it lumped in with the Jellicent EX there, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that was a tricky one for me. We talked about it before, and I thought you said you wanted to separate it, which is kind of what I did. But yeah, well, I have Genesect at 8. You have it at 9, so very similar there. I have then Archeops coming in at 10, which you don't have at all. And then I have 2 honorable mentions. I have Hilda, which you put in at number 4. So that's a really big difference there. So that's interesting. And I have Alomolo, however you say that one.
Yeah, Alomomola. It's a palindrome.
Alomomola. Yeah, is an honorable mention as well, which you don't have. So
yep. And then
you may value it similarly, though. I don't know where you view it.
Yeah, I probably do. And then I have in mind, you mentioned all of my top 9. My number 10 spot is the Tortuga. My number 11 spot, an honorable mention, is Meloetta EX, and my number 12, my second honorable mention, is Mandibuzz here. And I will say, so looking at it, we have the same top 3 and a lot of similarities in our list, but some differences as well.
Yeah.
So I'll say quickly going through mine about the tiers, and I think you'll go about you mentioned you had some after that as well, or groupings. I've said repeatedly actually to you off the podcast, and I might have said this on my channel a bunch as well. I think the top two cards, in my opinion, are a cut above the rest and are both borderline staple cards that are heavy considerations in every deck. Those are Air Balloon, the tool card, which reduces retreat cost by 2 colorless, and Tool Scrapper, the item, which removes 2 tools from your Pokemon in play, which are both reprints as well. And I think they're just going to be super good in a lot of different decks. And then Ed Brave Bangle, Hilda, Ignition Energy, and Prism Energy. I kind of group together as pretty versatile cards that aren't all trainers. 2 of them are energy, but kind of same idea. And so I think they're in a similar tier. I honestly don't care too much about the ordering of those. And then I think Electric is definitely the best Pokemon in this set, though I think Jellicent EX and Genesect EX, and honestly Tortuga are close. I guess I think Tortuga is a little lower than those. I might group that in with Meloetta EX and Mandibuzz, and I didn't really have too many ones. I think my next one would have been a Lomomola there. I guess I think Frillish is pretty good too, but again, I'd group that in with Jellicent, and it's not like amazing on its own either. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really have tiers per se, but they're kind of grouped by what they were. And I kind of felt it made sense for things. The 2 tools, actually, there's what actually a tool, and then that removes tools, and a tool. I do think Air Balloon and Tool Scrapper probably would be the top 2. A tier, probably not S tier if I was putting tiers in it. Although Brave Bengal might not be much far behind it. The energies, I think, are pretty close together. And then the Pokemon, particularly this Electric, the Jellicent, Genesect, they're there for their abilities. I kind of think they're kind of similar. You could group the Frillish in with the Jellicent then and kind of make that the same. And then, I have Archeops. You don't have Archeops. It gets a complicated decision. So that's probably not a top 10 cards. I probably would say there's 8 or 9 top 10 cards in my view.
Yeah, cards
for
that
our
are
top 10.
like good cards. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think all 12 of mine are pretty good. Again, I also had like the same 9. Wait, no. No, you had 8. You said 9, but then you had 8 or 9 because Frillish kind of counts. So I'd Hilda
Right.
in there. And then I think Tortuga is still pretty good. So I don't know how much there's to say about these upper cards. Like, so I mentioned Air Balloon, Tool Scrapper. They're reprints. They're good cards. I don't know if you have much to break down. I guess I'll say Air Balloon's just
Well,
a better rescue board, which is already a good card.
yeah. Let me say what the cards do. Just we assuming people know what
Oh,
they are, but
I mentioned them earlier, but kind of breezed past them.
all right. I maybe was focused on. So Air Balloon, a tool, reduces retreat cost by 2. I think it's number 1 for both. Switching is really important. We already have the one that reduces by 1. What's the name of that one again?
Yeah, rescue board.
Rescue board, which is or reduces to 0 if your HP's 30 or less, which
Like Purdue.
I still haven't. Yes, I don't think I've still taken advantage of that aspect of the card yet. It's
Yeah,
been
I
a
have
while,
not either.
and Rescue Board gets played a lot though. In 1 covers things, but reducing by 2 then covers most cards in a typical deck, right? Not quite all, but most Pokemon get covered. So I think Air Balloon's really good. So you need some switching, so this probably becomes a staple. Tool Scrapper is another reprint, and you can use the old copies of this. There's another card that's a reprint that you can't use your old copies of, but we'll get to that when the time comes. With Tool Scrapper, remove up to 2 Pokemon tools in play, can be yours and or your opponent's. It's just really good, right? I think. I think it gets me a lot of decks there. And do you want to talk in Brave Bengal, which we both have 3 again? That is a tool card. You do 30 more damage to opponent's active EX. I think this could become I think it's probably gonna become a 1 of in a lot of decks.
Well, only on non-rule box Pokemon. So it's I think it's solid. I mean, it's ultimately not going to be in. It's obviously it can't go in like a lot of good decks. But it goes in like I don't know. Ultimately, it kind of depends how good single prize or non-rule boxes, right? Because we might end up with a new mechanic that's not, I don't know, something like Radiance or something. But that's probably not going to be a whole deck. But yeah, I think it's like it's good against most decks. But it doesn't go in most decks. I mean, it could be a one of index for like some weird Pokemon. I've looked at some Japanese tournament results, and I've certainly seen Brave Bangle in some of the decks, but it's like. I mean, it's really good in Festival Lead. It's like good in Ethans. It's good in I mean, any single price deck. Really, it's going to be good in. It's not like absurdly broken, but it is very good. And so I think it's a strong card, but I do think there's a substantial drop off between Tool Scrapper and Brave Bangle. And I do think Air Balloon is a bit better than Tool Scrapper. Ultimately, I'm not a huge fan generally of cards that are like, I guess, disruptive, that are like doing removing your points of resources. Like I think because they have inconsistent value and obviously aren't helping you do what you need to do really. So that's why I value
Right.
Air Balloon more than Tool Scrapper. But yeah, I think Brave Bangle is a little. I mean, it's just not a card that might see that much meta play, but it is still a very good card.
Yeah, Tool Scrapper disruptive cards are particularly good for control type decks, which is never the dominant type of deck. At least, hopefully, not the dominant type of deck. Is what I'd say.
Yeah.
I think some. I think we both would agree. Some control is good in the game, but too much control is bad in the game. And obviously, getting rid of where it starts to have value is if the predominant Tool Scrapper, if Air Balloon becomes the predominant way that people are using for are switching. If they drop the switch cards, other than that, then Tool Scrapper becomes a really good counter to that, both for control and for non-control decks as well, right? So, if you think back to, it was a while ago, but with the Gardevoir EX, I think with Tord played a deck, or no, it was to beat the Gardevoir decks. I think where he decided to have a stall option in his deck, right? And it kind of
Like
got
a
people
Mawile or something.
yeah, something like Mawile, I think, and people were vulnerable. There could be like a turn at a point in time where Tool Scrapper can kind of become that if everyone's relying on Air Balloon. But yeah,
Kind of. I will say, um, Mawile stops it from before the stops him from retreating first, but then Tool
yeah,
Scrapper is after. And also there is Jamming Tower. Jamming Tower is like okay. Um, Turning off tools, it does turn off your own like all the time, so that's kind of bad. Um, more or less. And so no, that's not amazing. I think this is good against Gardevoir, where they want to give themselves extra HP too, and they potentially have negative HP without the tool or 0 HP, so that's like really good. We can actually
yeah,
take knockouts with this, and Tool Jammer couldn't be bumped. Um, Wait, that's the right. No, Jamming Tower. What am I saying? Tool Jammer
jamming.
is a different
Yes,
card.
no, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
Jamming Tower is it's solid, it's good. But I definitely think Tool Scrapper is better. Also, speaking of Tool Scrapper and Air Balloon, they are both stretchable off of Arven, which is very
yeah,
nice. And also speaking of, you're mentioning like Air Balloon replacing switches. Obviously Rescue Board is in the game. It is he's allowed to play. I don't think I need to say this too much, but with Arven, it searches a tool and an item. The item's generally the much better thing. You can get good value off of the tool sometimes, but generally you want to be getting the item to set up the tool again. Like TM Evo can be good, stuff like Air Balloon's good, but it's almost functioning like an item, like a switch,
yeah.
except that you can get it easier or like still have the room for it to get the item, so that's good. Honestly, getting Tool Scrapper off of Arven is okay, but it is using your supporter for the turn to get rid of a tool, more or less. It gets you a tool which could be good, or not, but it's still nice being searchable off of Arven, which makes it better than Jamming Tower in my opinion. Though they are a bit
Yeah,
different.
actually, yeah, you're mentioning Jamming Tower and Gardevoir is obviously a good deck. I think it's going to fall off some with this set. I don't think it
Um,
gets better with it
well, what about
anyway.
the Jellicent?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I guess I hadn't been thinking of Jellicent in that deck, but maybe that is the
What were
obvious
you
thing
what
to
are you
do.
thinking about it in?
I just think it's good in general, but we'll
I
we'll
guess,
see.
yeah, but
Well, uh, but um, but jamming tower only affects the active. So if you're worried about Gardevoir, Tool
wait, what?
Scrappers, in terms of Gardevoir knocking out
N-
Pokemon by getting turn off the tool, right? Jamming tower,
No, it
right?
turns
Only.
off all tools.
Oh, I thought it was just the active.
No, I was
Okay,
talking
so
about
forget.
I said tool jammer by accident, which just turns off the active. But jamming tower,
Okay,
which jams tools. Is yeah,
including the
it's
bench. Okay,
all
I could.
Pokemon, including your own, which can be like seriously bad at times.
Yeah,
Or it can be fine. I mean, jamming tower again. Jamming tower is good. I don't expect it to see no play. When Tool Scrapper comes out, it is a stadium bump, which could be nice. So it definitely
yeah.
has utility, but um,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean, I haven't played. Yeah, I haven't played Jam and Time much, and honestly, I don't run into it very often either. So I don't think people play it a lot. I don't expect it to be played a lot, but it's around. Anyway, so those are the top three cards, and yes, Brave Bengal. Just your point, the question, which may be the interesting question, and it's not something to dive into, if for evolving EX decks, do you want a Brave Bengal to attack with your single prize, or is that going to become relevant in
Like your previous
situations?
evolution,
Yeah, your pre right. Like, if you're playing whatever,
like
Charizard or
Dragapult.
whatever,
Yeah,
Dragapult, right? Do you want to do extra 30 from your single prize? I
feel like
I
that's
don't know.
pretty
Dragapult,
niche. Like
yeah.
it could happen. I feel like it's more so if you're countering a wall, which again is like pretty niche. So I don't know. I mean, I think you need some solid secondary attacker to take advantage of. I mean, you mentioned Charizard. There's like Chi-Yu, which does how much does Chi-Yu do? I'd say 130, or is that wrong? Um,
I do.
I'm looking at tournaments. That's not right. Chi-Yu does. Wait, you don't remember, right?
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
Oh,
I'll try to call it
it
up.
does 140. So I mean, like 30 extra could be good. Or could not be good. It's not like insane, but I think it's pretty good. Ultimately, obviously, if you're getting value out of it, like a bunch of turns, then it's really good. But if it's like a very situational card, it's okay. And also I mentioned that there could be or there could be different like mechanics, and if the dominant mechanic isn't EXs, then this card is like also bad. Kind of like what we saw, like
Yeah.
what we see with Choice Belt, right? Choice Belt, yeah, I think that's the right card name. In Standard, which is terrible because it doesn't do anything. So if something like that happens, obviously not to that extent, but if like Pokemon with the Mega Evolution is like, oh yeah, we're gonna like not do EXs, we're gonna like swap it to something else for like some reason, or like in a year from now, then Brave Bangle is like kind of bad potentially.
Yeah, when you mentioned the Mega EXs, I was thinking that could be, assuming there's like a single prize deck that's good now, and I'm not sure there's a lot of single prize decks that have the scalability you want right now, unfortunately. But if you had a single prize attacker that's good scalability right now, you might need Brave Bengal once the Megas come out, right? To do that extra 30 to help get there. Um,
Yeah. But anyway,
so
it's a good card. I don't think it's not like some insanely broken
yeah,
card, but it's pretty good.
yeah. So what do you want to go to next? I had let's do Prism Energy because your number four versus is a bigger gap to me.
Yeah.
So number four is Prism Energy on my list. You had six on yours, so a little worse. It's a special energy, provides one colorless, but when it's attached to a basic Pokemon, provides every type of energy, one energy, but every type at a time. So it's right. And we have Luminous now. Now that's not restricted to basics, if I'm remembering
Yeah.
it correctly. But which provides every type, but one energy of every type, but only if it's only special energy. This doesn't have that limitation. You can have multiple special energies and still do it. So it's I like basic box style decks. So
Like
it's
what?
really good for that. Well, I like there's which wasn't just basic, but like Arceus with a bunch of V's,
Yeah.
let's
No.
say, and then
Give me an example in
special energy.
Standard.
I don't have an example right now.
Okay. Well, I have an example. I was trying to get you to
Go
say a
ahead.
certain thing, and you didn't say it. So
I failed.
So I was gonna say Armarouge, right? Armarouge is I think
Yeah,
the deck that
I
best fits it. There's also Joltik. I don't think this is quite like what you're looking for in Joltik box because you're using Crispin and um like Joltik, right? You're using Joltik, so
yeah.
that's a little different. But I think it goes in Armarouge, right? That kind of makes sense there.
Red Armarouge, which moves fire energies from the bench to the active, and Prism Energy is a fire energy when it's attached to a basic. You can move it to the active, and as long as that's still a basic, it provides whatever energy you want. Or if you had an evolution, just need a colorless energy, it would still work as that too.
Yeah. Oh wait, did you move your mic closer? Or
I don't know. Am
oh,
I
maybe
sounding
not.
different?
Maybe it like got loud for a second, but it's I think better now. Anyway, so
Okay.
yeah, Prism Energy. I think it works well with an Armarouge. You can move the energy around, but Luminous Energy is played right now, and I think Luminous Energy might actually be better because ultimately, when you're talking about these versatile box style decks, you're using what one Prism Energy on it, right? Probably.
In that case, yes, you for a box style deck that needs this type of energy, like I said, when I was doing Arceus with the V's, it had to have colorless plus one colored energy. Not once it got to two colored energy of a type specific energy, it didn't work anymore. And I
Yeah.
think that's the same.
Um. Yeah. Wait, it didn't work at all, or
It just wouldn't set up
yeah.
well. It didn't
Mhm.
function properly. So yeah, so Luminous may be better than Prism Energy. Um, yeah, I'm not. I haven't figured out what I want to use Prism Energy in yet. Um, But I mean, the thought is it would go in a basic EX deck, right?
Yeah,
That's the thought
basic
there.
EX, not necessarily EX. This could be like, oh, a wide variety of different things. And yeah, as you said, like Luminous, like they're very similar. That's partially why I have it lower. That's the main reason. And I might honestly
Right.
like not really see any play, but then Luminous will rotate, and then I think it'll see play. Or who
Yeah.
knows, right? Because ultimately talking about a bunch in the future, it's hard to project. But yeah, I think Prism Energy is like in terms of the card itself, it's a pretty solid card. I don't have like really differences in opinion to you much in this card. It's good, it's solid,
Yeah.
um, not insane, and also like basics aren't the main decks right now. I guess I mean there are certainly good basic decks, um, but this is a little situational. Prism Energy. Oh, Prism Energy is a reprint. We didn't say that. Prism Energy is another
Okay.
reprint. The third and final kinda reprint on this list. And it saw play in some different decks. It saw play. Oh, I'm looking here, and this is expanded. That's not what I'm looking for. I guess we could talk about expanded. You have like Mewtwo and Mew, Arceus, Dialga Palkia, got some weird stuff here, but the one of the decks that it was played in when it was in standard, I think the main one, yeah, is the Team Plasma deck. Is called Plasma Kyurem, or it has different names. But anyways, that deck is kind of like the future deck now, so you like could do something with that. I think if in order to get good value out of Prism Energy, you need Prism Energy to be an energy that you like have one Prism plus a bunch of colorless energies. If there is Oh, well,
Yes.
there's Ignition Energy, which you can't use with Luminous Energy. So if you wanted, you could use Ignition plus Prism. That seems like pretty clunky. But theoretically, that opens up something new. Obviously, Lugia could get a bunch of Prism Energies on, or Archeops, which, you see that in Expanded some.
Right.
But like, there's a reason we got Luminous Energy, we did not get Prism Energy. But if we get something that accelerates Special Energy, then Prism could be good. And I think you want a deck that can take advantage of just having one Prism Energy on, but also take advantage in some sense of having multiple Prism Energies on as well. I'm not sure what that could be. Could have to do with Stellar Pokemon, but like that seems kind of clunky. So not really sure of where this will be played in, but I expect to see some play, and I expect later on it will see a good amount of play. But again, that is a lot of speculation there.
Yeah. Yeah, two things. First off, which is speculative and probably wouldn't happen if they were to like bring back like double colorless energy or double turbo energy. Sorry, that'd be the one if they were to bring it back. It would be that one. Then prism energy would jump up a lot because then you could get three energies and have one of any type with
Yeah,
two
but that's still like
attachments.
kind of clunky in terms of like
It
attachments. It's doable, but it's kind of I don't know. It
it
seems
is.
hard.
I mean, the other thing is like you play loop like some of the decks that play luminous, like Dragapult, right? Sometimes plays it. I think I've
Yeah,
seen that.
yeah, it's quite
Uh,
common.
you might replace it with. No, you can't. You can't
Yeah,
attack
you
with
can't do it
Dragapult with
because like
Prism. So
one of the
you're
things with
right because it's the
Dragapult,
evolution. Yeah,
like you can get value off of it for Monkey Dory. I think they usually don't play Darkness Energy because it's like kind of bad. I still think Monkey Dory
yeah,
not great in the deck. But anyways, yeah, you have Luminous for it can be fire, it can be a psychic, especially when like the Charizard builds, you can play like fire and Luminous. So it gives you more versatility, and you're also not, you don't have high energy costs of your Pokemon. So it works well. So I feel like the I mean, again, like Prism Energy, it doesn't really work in that deck. It does some things in that deck, but not really what you're looking for. It doesn't really have any
yeah,
upside in that deck either, because you don't really want two Luminous Energies on the Pokemon. Like theoretically, you could for like Dragapult, but again, Prism doesn't work on that. So, yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So we're not sure what the use case of Prism Energy is. It certainly will have value and it will see some play. So do you want to go to Ignition Energy, or do you
Yeah.
want to jump to?
Um,
Okay, so
so Ignition, I'll talk about this one. You don't have that much to say about it, probably, do you?
no, you probably have more to say than I do. So go ahead.
Yeah, so Ignition Energy is really interesting. This one is technically not a reprint, but it's functionally a reprint of Triple Acceleration Energy. Works a tiny bit different, but it's three colorless energy on an evolution, or it's one colorless on a not evolution, and then it's discarded at the end of your turn. Obviously, if it's just the one colorless and you discard it, that's like super terrible. But three colorless is a lot. We were talking about, you mentioned double colorless, and then you change it to double turbo because double colorless is kind of broken. This is triple colorless, so that's super good.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, I was looking at different cards in the game. It doesn't work with Benny very well. There's the new Zoroark, which is not on either of our lists because it's not that good. It's okay. There's a new Mandibuzz, which is not really an attacker, but could use this. There's a few different cards. I was going to mention Wigglytuff EX, but that doesn't have quite the right synergy. There's something like Wug Trio. There's some different
Yeah.
cards, but they're not like super good. But it's interesting, and it's a lot of energy. So it's 3 colors on evolution, which you have as reversal, which is 3 of any type, but reversal is not active all the time. So you could also pair this with reversal because you getting special energy. You can't really search them. You kind of can. We'll actually talk about that in a second. But there's Colossus Tenacity, which is like okay, but it's not amazing, right? It's not going to be like searching energy super easily, like all the time. And then uh, drawing one card that you have 4 copies of is kind of sketchy. Drawing a card you have 8 copies of is not that bad. It's definitely doable. So I think Ignition Energy is definitely interesting here. I don't, again, kind of like Prism Energy, I have them kind of grouped together here. And I mean, yeah, you have them next to each other as well. They're cards that have situational use cases, and situationally, they're super good. But the situations aren't necessarily in a standard right now. But they're not some like crazy specific things. They're crazy specific to get insane value, but to get solid value. I mean, just using like 2 colors on a stage 1, I imagine that exists. I feel like it exists, and I'm forgetting something, but ultimately it's cool. I think it will see play. I'm not. I'm Yeah. I think it's pretty good. I think Prism might be better, but then Luminous kind of pushes Prism out maybe, so that's why I have Ignition above it. Don't feel super strongly about it though. I think they're pretty similar power level, and again, pretty solid, but not amazing.
Yeah, so the difference between ignition and triple acceleration previously, I believe, is ignition can be attached to
Anything, yeah,
non-evolution Pokemon as well, and it provides 1 colorless, whereas triple acceleration either doesn't attach or it attaches and falls off. I don't quite
yeah.
remember which. Um, Now, ignition energy can be attached to rule box Pokemon. The reversal energy that works on non-rule box only. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or am I-
So that's the difference there. I can't think of anything that would really apply to that's like super good.
no,
This is Blissey. That's okay.
right. Yeah, I mean, Blissey EX comes to mind, but it's not a great attacker, and you deal with it if you wanted to. You deal with it by moving the energies around usually, but you could put it. But it does work for EXs, so that's something to keep in mind. But I do think if you want to play like a deck like Wugtrio will get better. Hopefully not too good because I like Mill, but it's not fun to play against because now you have potentially 8 special energies that you can power you up. You don't need to be behind the prizes early on, so it helps. You lose it, of course, but but that, and you have the reversal energies in a deck like Wugtrio. That's probably the use case for it, I think. Um, but I don't think like Wugtrio is going to take over the world either, and I'm not sure something. But a single prize deck, because you need to attack a lot of times with a single prize deck, so it's a single prize attacker that needs this type of energy. That's the use case. I'm not sure what there is now, but it may come down the road later too.
Yeah, definitely a card to keep an eye out. Remember, kind of like Reversal as well. They're like kind of similar.
Yeah.
Reversal has higher potential, but like some sketchier elements to it. I think Ignition could also be in a toolbox style deck where you have an Ignition box style deck or an Ignition box package thing in a deck. Not really sure,
Yeah.
but it's cool and it is somewhat searchable as well. And I think we'll talk about Hilda now,
Yep.
which I'll just quickly read off what it does. It's a supporter here, definitely the best supporter in the set. I think actually research is in the set, but the best new supporter in the set. Search your deck for an evolution Pokemon and 1 energy card, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. I had this as the 4th best card here, grouped in with Brave Bangle, Ignition Energy, and Prism Energy. Had it second of those 4 above the energies, but in a similar tier there. But you had it as your 11th card as or 10th, depending how you count
Yeah.
it, as an honorable mention here. Why do you have it lower? I want to hear your thoughts on this card.
I mean, yes, I would agree that it's the best supporter because I don't have any other supporter on my top 10 plus honorable mentions. In that regard, the good thing about it is it searches for special energies, which is always good because that's very limited. So having options for that is good. But you usually there's not that many decks that searching for 1 evolution Pokemon's okay, but obviously you'd rather play Ultra Ball almost all the time than that, right? It's I don't the Pokemon search is okay. I guess it's designed for ignition energy in an evolution. I guess that's kind of the thought behind it. I don't think it's gonna. I don't see it getting a lot of play. Maybe I could be wrong about that, but it's okay what it does. And if the fact that it searches a special energy, if it didn't search for special energy, it wouldn't even be an honorable mention to me. So just because this is the second card in format that searches for special energy. You also have Energy Lotto, right? That looks at the
Wait,
top seven.
that rotated, right?
That rotated. All right. Well, that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah,
have
that rotated. So anyway, so a couple of things. One, supporters that search evolutions, you see sort of like Jack, and which I don't think is very good, but I think it's okay. And then also Brock Scouting, which I think is okay. I thought it
Yeah.
was gonna be underrated, but people play it. It's kind of like Badoo counter, I guess, but it's not like super strong, but it's solid. I mean, it's like a little less versatile than Arvin. Because Arvin's like can do so many different things, but again against Badoo, like you can't actually do any of those things. So it's like kind of good there, but it's not insane. It also gets basic, so it's more versatile than this. But you
Yeah.
have that, and then also Colossus Tenacity. So what are your thoughts on Colossus Tenacity? I want to hear those.
All right. So Colossus Tenacity searches for it's
A
energy
stadium
and
and
stadium,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
I mean, I don't play it much. I don't see it played a lot. It's okay. I mean, stadiums. This is better than that than Colossus Tenacity, probably, right? Because you want an evolution Pokemon more often than you want a stadium. I would say decks that need stadiums. So you don't have a lot of stadium search. But I guess maybe Colossus. Oh, now I'm going to flip around and say Colossus Tenacity is better because it searches for two
Better?
cards that. Well, there's not a lot of stadium search either. So in one sense, Colossus
Yeah.
Tenacity searches for two cards that you can't search for easily. Obviously, you can search for evolution Pokemon pretty easily, right?
Yeah,
Right now,
it's like it's pretty doable. Yeah.
I mean, you need the Ultra Ball and two other cards you don't need. So sometimes you don't like that. But you mentioned Brock Scouting, but that searches for a basic or evolution,
Yeah,
and
or
that's
two
way
basics.
two basics. But even if yeah, but so the fact is only evolutions hurts Hilda a lot, I think, right? Because sometimes you need a
Yeah.
basic instead of an evolution. So you know, I'm guessing it's not going to see a lot of play, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I feel like Colossus Tenacity is Colossus Tenacity can get Artazone, which can get a basic, which is like kind of cool. I'm a big fan, or I guess I'm a big fan of Colossus Tenacity. I mean, I played it in Feraligatr, which I guess I still think is good. I know I haven't played Feraligatr in a while, and I haven't seen anyone play it. So maybe it's just like bad. I don't really know, but it gets like stadiums, which is cool, and it gets special energy, and it sees
Yeah.
play. It doesn't see like a ton of play. It sees play in like wall decks and some different things. It's like fine. It's not. Apparently, some people play it in Joltik box, which seems kind of weird, but it sees play in some different decks. It's not like insanely highly played, but it's like a card that people kind of know. People play some. Which is all right. It's like a solid card. I feel like it's on a similar tier to these other trainers. And then getting an evolution is like good. It's not going to get you like what you need all the time. But if you look at decks like, what are top decks? You have like Dragapult as a top deck, which getting an evolution is pretty much always going to be good for you. You could get a Dragapult. You could get a Dracloak, which is also good. You probably, want that most of the time.
Yeah.
And then also getting something like, like a Dustour. If you're playing Dustour, you could like get something in that or Charizard or something. Those decks, they play a lot of evolutions. There's also something like
Yeah.
Grimmsnarl with Frostlass where there's multiple different evolutions. And I mean, I guess Colossus Tenacity could get the Stadium to get the Marnie's lines, but you could get your Frostlasses. And like you just have different options. It's not insane, but it's solid. And I think it's gonna see some play. I mean, getting evolution is pretty much like it's decent, and getting an energy is also decent. It's not some insanely strong card, but it does allow you to get certain cards you can't get super easily, specifically the energy, which is hard to get. While still having it, what I describe as a more stable card. Colossus Tenacity getting a Stadium is like kind of sketchy. Artazone is solid, but also helps your opponent, and like you're not gonna be playing tons of Artazone, so you might not even have it there sometimes. And then like the other stadiums usually aren't like super good. I mean, it kind of depends what you're playing. Let's see, I'm just clicking the first list, which finished 386th here. Which yeah, doesn't it plays like Town Store, which is like, I mean, it can help, but I feel like the evolution value is going to be a little bit better most of the time. In average decks, so I think it'll see some play. In different decks. It's pretty versatile, so that's why I have it here.
Yeah, I mean, first on Colossus Tenacity, I like the time I play that is when I play Grand Tree in a deck.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I
yeah, it's
don't.
just very good with Grand Tree.
That's kind of what I think I played it. I don't know if I've really used it without that, but so the thing is, like the decks used for Hilda, though, the decks you said, like Dragapult, yeah, it's great getting the evolution, but you don't need the energy search,
You
right?
can get
You
like
need an
Luminous. You
evolution.
can get Luminous, which is
Well,
cool for like, if you're playing like Monkey Dories and stuff.
you need an evolution Pokemon, and you need to want a special energy, and that could be okay for
I
things.
think it's pretty good, and I don't think it's like insane in Dragapult, but I think it's solid. Let me find the lists are on average playing, yeah, a bunch of Luminous. And wait, what build? Oh, this is the Charizard build. But I mean, yeah, you can definitely probably get value out of it. You got, a bunch of Luminous. I mean, you do have a bunch of Luminous, so you might just drop the Luminous, but then like getting Drake is also good. And they're playing. This is kind of a mess, but they're some are playing Jack. Wait, are they playing Brox? I can't look at this. This is a bit of a mess. Not really, but like you could. Oh yeah, no, yeah, they're playing Brox some. So like, I think it's solid in Dragapult, and also like Dragapult sees so much play. So if he's playing Dragapult, then it's kind of see a bunch of play.
Yeah, Dragapult for Luminous Energy, I can see that. I think it's going to become really good for if there's decks that want Ignition Energy, right? Because that is a special energy, and that works with evolutions, right? So therefore,
Yeah, it has more natural
Ignition Energy
synergy.
decks. What's that?
It has more natural synergy there. Oh yeah, and then
Yeah.
just looking at the regular Dragapult, like the Dragapult without Charizard, then you see that it plays more Brox, which again Brox isn't like a super. It's like they're not the same. Brox is a little more versatile in terms of setting up, but it's solid. I do like the card. Um, I mean I don't actually like it that much. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm gonna play it that much, but I think it is a card that people will end up playing.
Yeah, look, it's a good card. It's a card to keep in mind. It might be, is it close to the special energies for value? Maybe. I mean, again, for the right deck, it's the right deck. It'll be a good card, right? It'll have value. I'm not sure. I think it's gonna see less use than you, but time will tell about that one.
Yeah. But now I think we can move on to the other cards. I think, the trainers slash special energy are the best cards in the set. We both think that, right? We have the top half
Yes.
of our lists being just those. So we both kind of think that. And they're the cards that are, in consideration for more decks, but the Pokemon are arguably more exciting. I don't know if these Pokemon are super exciting. I'm not gonna lie. They're mostly support Pokemon. But the first one we have here is Electric, and we have these essentially in the same order until we reach the bottom, which we should talk about as well. But Electric is
Yeah.
it's a reprint, I guess.
It's not a reprint.
Well, it's like on a Limitless, it's a reprint. Limitless doesn't
There's an
decide things.
official ruling from Pokemon, I believe.
Yeah,
Right.
no,
So
I saw that.
it's well, Electric. It's right. It's the same name. The Dynamotor ability. Are you familiar? Right. Once during a turn, attach to lightning energy from the Disco to when your bench Pokemon. Exact same ability. Exact same name. I think the attack is the same. Same name, costs, everything. The HP. It's all the same. Is that correct?
Yeah, I went to read the whatever it's called. I was gonna say tooltip, but whatever the Pokédex entry, and I read it, and it says this is a proxy card. So I don't think that's right. But yeah, so it's like the same stats exactly. I will say Flaffy has the exact same stats. But anyways, yeah, so it's like it's not the same regulation mark. So, well, I think like the old
Right.
doesn't
So
have a regulation mark, but
right, because this came out. So Pokemon officially said you cannot play the old Electric in your deck. So, yes, it's the same card. Yes, it's essentially a reprint, but no, it's not a reprint in that you cannot show up to an actual sanctioned tournament with the old Electric and legally play. So,
yep.
It just is what it is.
Yep. But anyways, so it's like more or less a reprint.
Yes.
And it again it accelerates lightning from your discard to on your bench Pokemon. There isn't really that much to break down with this card beyond what you see on face value. I will say Electric, the original one, saw a bunch of play. It was very good. And then Flaffy, a
Yes.
reprint of Electric, saw a bunch of play. It was quite good. Not I don't think as good, but still pretty good. And the other cards like this have same idea. So ultimately, this card's gonna be good. I might be a little low on this card, and a little higher on some of the other cards around. I could see it a little higher on the list, but it goes within Lightning decks. There's really one Lightning deck right now, which is Joltik, right? I'm not forgetting something.
I,
Um, yeah, I guess there's
yeah.
Raging Bull. I didn't think about that. You could do that. That's
Oh,
something. It seems a little weird. I don't know. I feel like the Ogerpon package works pretty well, but you could do that.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So then within like the Joltik box, I think is good. If you know my thoughts on Joltik box, I think the deck is not good. Not like terrible, but I don't think it's. I think I'm much lower on it than most people. Notably because it has issues with the late game, struggling to get energies on your board, which I think Electric helps with a lot. And could even replace the Joltik theoretically, or like change the deck, make it more lightning energy focused, because it has like a bunch of other energies, a bunch of grass energies, and like metal energies and psychic energies and stuff. So then that doesn't work as well with Electric, but ultimately I think this card is good. I don't think it's going to be played in crazy amounts, and it's not exactly a deck builder on it. Kind of is. It's not completely that. But I think it's pretty good. It works with like Iron Hands EX and Miraidon EX very well. Iron Thorns EX, probably something else I'm forgetting, but it's not like I don't think it's insane, but I think it's pretty solid. Definitely going to see some play in a good energy acceleration option that's consistent throughout the game, but not as explosive as something like Baxcalibur or the Embor, which we don't have on our list, which can get a ton of energy on the board, though it is less consistent, much less consistent there.
Right. I mean, look, it's one energy. Obviously, we have Gardevoir in format EX, which unlimited psychic energies. Obviously, it's an EX stage 2, but it's that ability is just way better than Electric's ability because it's slow, right? And it's only to the bench, so you have to do switching as well on your turn. We do have Air Balloon, so that's nice as well. Which, of course, with Electric, then it has the Air Balloon that becomes your pivot, so that's nice there. Yeah, the old Electric, the Flappy, Flaffy were good cards. I think this will be a good card. I don't not sure where it's going to end up, but or this plus a toolbox deck, right? Is good as well because, well, I guess because it goes to non-lightning as well. So we have the Luminous, we have the Prism Energy if it's a basic. So it kind of works with that as a way to do things. So it just gives options. I imagine there's going to be one or two good decks with Electric while it's in format.
Yeah, I will mention there's a new Zekrom EX, which is pretty good with Electric. It's not amazing, but it's like definitely worth probably a one of inclusion in Lightning decks. Even in Joltik box, probably worth a one of inclusion there. So yeah, I don't think there's again too much to break down with Electric. We could spend more time. We spent I think a bunch of time with the other cards because they have more
Yeah.
different use cases. Electric is what it is on face value, as is with most of the next three Pokemon, I think. But do you have anything else to add, or you want to move on to the next one?
No, we can move on. And Electric, like you said, it's essentially a reprint, so we all know what it does.
I guess. I mean, even the Flaffy, which is a reprint, it's been rotated out of the game for quite a while.
That's true. And then the old Electric has been a while. So, but it's yeah, it'll be good in something again. Which is how kind of a lot of these cards are, I would say. So we'll do Jellicent next. I think is that next on your list as well as
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
So Jellicent EX, there's a single prize as well. I'm pretty certain.
Well, there's the Frillish, which I'll read the Frillish, although you covered it up.
Yeah.
But for one psychic, Sea Shadows is the translation. It does 20 and item locks your opponent. I'll just read all of it. I guess I kind of jumped in here, but Jellicent EX, the stage 1. That has a similar thing. Its ability is it's not an attack, but it item locks if it's in the active, and also tool locks your opponent. And then it has the attack power press for Psychic Colorless, doing 80, but for 2 more colorless, you'll do 160. So that's like it's not very good, but it like gets by if you're
No.
item locking your opponent. And yeah, so the basic allows you to item lock before you get to the stage 1 as well there. It's functionally pretty similar to Badoo. There are obviously differences there, but within the deck, it's like that idea, so you don't also need Badoo in your decks playing Frillish. You could, I guess. Also, really, you have 3 retreat cost on both of them, which is like, especially for a basic 3, is like super high.
Yeah, and we have Air Balloon, which is really good in format, especially. So a couple things. First off, Jellicent 270 HP on the stage 1. It also tool locks you as well, your opponent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which the Frillish does not. So the
Oh,
Frillish 80 HP, that's also a 3 retreat cost. So that's really rough on a basic single prize retreat cost of 3. But if it does 20 damage, then they're item locked with that. So this may be the Frillish, which you kind of combine with the Jellicent. I think Frillish could be played on its own though as well, potentially, right? Because item locking on a
Maybe.
basic to disrupt and it's 80 HP, so the opponent can't necessarily one shot it easily, right? Depending what they're playing and how
Yeah.
well they set up. So on you go second. if you hit him with this on, with Earthen Vessel. I mean, Earthen Vessel. You usually get the energy, so that I like that. It could be on its own, but it's obviously mostly with the Jellicent, just 270 HP on the EX. It also could be the attack's not very good, like you said. It's actually bad, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, okay, you need 2 energies to do 80, you need 4 to do 160, still not great. And then the other thing is, how do I power it up? And obviously, like you said earlier, Gardevoir, which could go in like a 1/1 line in Gardevoir decks, and I can, that could definitely be effective and make sense. The other thing is, if I wanted to play a Jellicent deck, then I probably want to go to a Xatu engine, and I think you and I would both agree Xatu's an engine that doesn't work as well as often as you'd like it to.
Yeah, I was thinking. I actually didn't even think of Xatu. Not really, at least. I was thinking Ignition Energy as well. That
Yeah,
can be the 3, but that's like kind of clunky. Or it's actually pretty
yeah,
clunky. But then, yeah, I think Gardevoir makes the most sense. You are a Pokemon that's disruptive, so it pairs well with Monkey Dory, Walling, and then also it pays for the energy, right? That's the big thing, and it's the right
right.
typing. Gardevoir kind of likes item, it likes Badoo and stuff. And so Frillish is nice there. I actually, because I didn't really consider Frillish much here. But
Yeah,
Frillish is a card that, which actually I kind of told you to like consider Frillish, which I'm considering it, but like within the Jellicent. But I'm comparing it to Badoo. I heard one person say it's like a Badoo, except it already has Bravery Charm, Vitality Band on it, which is cool, but it is obviously an extra
right.
energy. So um, having the extra energy is a big deal. You said you can find the energy turn 1 relatively easily. However, being a
Mhm.
free no, this is not a free
Retreat.
attacker. Yeah, Badoo being free attacker. I mean, being a free retreat, you can get it out, but you can get it in easier being a free attacker. You can attach active
Yeah.
retreat. You can't do that with Frillish. So missing the item lock is like pretty bad. So you can even still play Badoo in something like this. Or Frillish is like it's still good. I do believe Badoo is like noticeably better. Or I think it's like it's a bit better. Frillish is obviously a certain type as well. But Frillish is like good. If we didn't see Jellicent, if we didn't have Badoo and we didn't have Jellicent EX, I think Frillish still would see some play. Not exactly sure how much though. But that's not the case, right? That's not the game we're playing. But I think
Yeah.
Jellicent EX with Gardevoir has seen play in Japan, like substantial play. I think it's the most played new Pokemon. I'm not actually sure, but I think so. Um,
Okay.
at least at like tournament play. There's like a tournament, right? You can look on Limitless and see it. The Japan Championships 2025. And you see Jellicent Gardevoir is played, a little bit. With I think it's like a 2-2 line of Jellicent or something, which is like, I mean 1-1 is like a little sketchy. I don't love playing 1-1 lines. I don't know if you do either. I'll do it sometimes, but yeah, Jellicent is like it's solid. And also like once it's there, you're kind of sitting behind it, hoping it like holds up. Um, and if it does, it's really good. I will say also comparing it to Tyranitar, this is stage 2 with a similar ability, doesn't tool lock. I don't think the tool lock's super meaningful, but just adds a little more value on top of it. But that card's okay, and like it doesn't really see any play. I think it's a little underrated. It's a stage 2. You mentioned you kind of need Grand Tree for it. I play Colossus
Hmm.
Tenacity there. It's very good. But yeah, McJellison it like sets up decently, but it's just a relatively weak attack. Even like for the fact that Gardevoir pays it, like not for free, but kind of for free. Um, it's still not like it's not a powerhouse or anything, but I think it's a solid enough card. And doing 160 and item locking is pretty annoying, and then you also have the Monkey Dories to pile on as well.
All right, so a couple other thoughts about the Jellicent and the Frillish. First off, in most of these you're going to say I don't know what I'm talking about here, which could be the case. I do think if there's a good hit and run is something to keep in mind with it. If there's a hit and run option,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
but I don't know what that is right now. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
um, and the retreat cost is 3, and if you have a hit and run deck, you want to then switch back with the other attack or 2 usually. So that gets awkward as well. So, but that's there's that. In terms of the Frillish, it does at the 80 HP takes you out of range of Dragapult. It saves a prize on 1 turn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
if
yeah,
that's
the
what you're
HP is cool.
so if you're going to see if your Dragapult's going to be a good deck the whole time. So if you think you're going to run into a lot of Dragapult Frillish for item lock, because especially Gardevoir, right? With Badoo, this might be better in Gardevoir.
Yeah,
I'm
and you
not
can
sure.
also one shot the Dragapult with Jellicent as well with Lotus Clefairy EX, which is good.
Yeah. I'm also think with the either the probably the Frillish, maybe the Jellicent in a Monkey Dory deck, a Walling
Like
deck,
just
right?
Munkidori. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry. That's not. I take that back. I meant to say Mimikyu. I want to get to Monkey
Oh,
Door in a second, but if you want a Walling Mimikyu deck, then item lock with Frillish and maybe Jellicent. I think you can mess around with that,
yeah,
and you know again, it's not a competitive deck. I don't think.
yeah. I
And then
think Walls is
could,
like it's an all right deck. And
yeah. I mean, look, Mimikyu's been an annoying card since it came out. It's fallen off some. Maybe it's being slept on a little bit. Frillish and Mimikyu makes it, just adds more annoyance to the deck, which can always be fun. And then what about Frillish with Frostlass and Monkey Dory, right? Because
yeah,
especially if people are relying on Air Balloon for the retreat, now they can't attach the Air Balloon. I can get something stuck. I have a bad attack, but I don't care. I actually don't want to attack. I want to start moving damage and knocking out bench Pokemon as a strategy. And I can attack with the active if that's what happens, but the goal is get something stuck and just chip away at the bench.
I think it's about as strong as playing it with Gardevoir, except with Gardevoir you have like Gardevoir behind it, um, so I think it's probably better to do it with Gardevoir. But yeah, that's like solid. Um, kind of like Frostlass and Monkey Door. I don't like it as much out with Marius because I think Marius is fine enough, but um,
Yeah.
I'm not like the biggest fan of that deck. But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's fine. I don't think there's too much to break down with Jellicent either, right? We've broken down some.
Yeah, we've
Um,
said plenty on Jealous, I think.
yeah, but then we have Genesect EX, the next one here, which it has an attack which isn't very good. You could use it, but it's not very good. But then you have your ability here, which says once during a turn you may search your deck for up to 2 Metal Evolution Pokemon, reveal and put them into your hand. Then you shuffle your deck. Genesect EX is good. Notably, I thought this card was like kind of not great at first because like you don't need like a bunch of Metal Pokemon every turn. But it's good because you can get off a Nest Ball, and so you can like Nest Ball for evolution Pokemon. You can get 2 on 1 turn, so it's like versatile. Good with
Yeah.
specifically Goldengo, but it's like fine enough in really any metal evolution deck. It's very not flashy, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's here for the ability. Its retreat cost is 2, so Air Balloon is good. I like Goldengo a lot, so I think this goes in Goldengo. I got to think through
Yeah,
the
I'm pretty
bench slots
sure.
because
Oh,
you,
because
you
you
play.
played the Dunsparce, right?
Well, because you want to fill up your bench, you want to get all your Goldengos in play as quickly as possible as well, because that's your engine. So you just got to think through bench space. But I think I do want it in the Goldengo deck. Probably, and again, it's a basic, so I only need to put one copy in. It's only one deck slot, so it's really good for that. Yeah, the attack is bad. 150 for 3. It takes 30 less damage, but I don't see that as being good, really. So, but it's a nice ability for, it's obviously only metal, and it's only metal evolution, so it's gonna be very niche, but it'll go in some decks for sure.
Yeah. And also, oh, you mentioned Goldengo, or I mentioned Goldengo, and we were
Yeah.
talking about Air Balloon, and Air Balloon, I didn't say this earlier, is actually good in Goldengo as well, because you could play like Switch, because you draw an extra card in the active, but then you're just using a Switch to draw one more card, which is like
Right.
not that good, right? But Air Balloon, you can do the same thing, except you can do it multiple times. So Air Balloon is actually very good in Goldengo, like top to bottom, so that's kind of cool there. You get nothing like
Yeah.
crazy, but it's nice. But then, yeah, I think that's it for Genesect. But now you want to talk about your number 10/number 9 card here, Archeops.
Yeah, which don't have on the list, and I know the downside. So, but Archeops is stage 2. It evolves from a fossil. That's the downside. If it wasn't from a fossil, I'm pretty sure it would be on your top 10 list because it's got a very good ability, I think. And I think it's kind of pretty fun. Primal Wings, once during your turn, if this Pokemon's in the active spot, you may choose one of your Pokemon's evolved Pokemon, devolve it by putting the highest stage evolution into your opponent's hand. So, yeah, I just think it's really good because I like to play decks with TM devolution, but I find it doesn't quite work out. The numbers, I kind of need to get some damage and the devolution, but now from a stage 2, I can go to the stage 1 if I want, and then go that to the basic, which should take that out. Or you can, or if you just attacking into the active with your active, you send up the Archeops. She cost is 1, so that's easy to take care of there. Devolve your opponent's Pokemon. and then retreat and attack, hit into the active, and now, assuming they had an EX Pokemon, they now have a lot less HP. You take out the basic, if they don't have another basic setup, your opponent might not be able to attack the next turn.
Yeah, no, it definitely has cool utility. It is a fossil. It's a stage 2, even if it wasn't a fossil. I think, it's like it has
Yes.
issues. It's like all right. I don't think it would be in my top 10 if it wasn't a fossil. I think if it was
Okay.
like a stage 1, it would be on my list. Stage 1 not fossil certainly would be. I think. But
Stage one not fossil would be a great card. It would be too good, I think. You're not there, but I think a stage one regular evolution would be too powerful.
Yeah, it probably would be. I don't know, because you have like some pretty crazy things you could do with it. I think it would be cool though. I like kind of strong, fun cards. But yeah, no, it would be probably too good. Ultimately, being a stage 2 fossil is awkward, and you need to be like switching it around all the
Yes.
time. Again, it has cool value, which you mentioned. I just don't think it's doable enough. I mean, even TM Devolution isn't. I mean, it's used, but it's not used all the time. Like it's in relatively low counts and stuff, and like Archeops does have value over it. You can disrupt after you devolve. You can devolve multiple times. You can devolve multiple Pokemon. It has a lot of good value, but you can devolve before you attack as well. So lots of good
Yeah.
things there, but it just I don't know. I don't think it's super workable. Because it's a lot of hoops to jump through. Um, like a bunch of them, like switching stage 2 fossil. That's a lot. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, it's awkward. I will give you that, and maybe it's more here because it's fun. I like what the ability does. It's interesting. I will say that.
yeah, I agree.
Um,
I think it's really fun, but
I probably maybe I give it a try and expanded with Zoroark, right? With Zoroark, then you can get the Arcan into play,
yeah. Oh, you should
and
probably do it with Pokemon Research Lab or whatever that card is. I always call it Fossil Research Lab, but that's not right. I think it's Pokemon Research Lab, which you can use to get
okay,
this out. Which is cool. And obviously Archeops is like a really good line in expanded. Well, there's the one that's banned, which I guess is not good because it's banned. But there's
yeah,
the one that gets the RNGs, and you can put this in there as well. I guess depending how you're playing that. But Archeops is always paired with Lugia and expanded. So there's
right.
some cool things with it.
'Cause for expanded, I don't know if something else that has this ability in expanded. I could be wrong because
Yeah,
obviously
I
there's a lot of cards.
can't think of it either. So But you're saying like it's
So,
good, so we don't know, or
well, no, it could be. Well, I'm just saying, consider it no, for expanded format. If it does something that no other card in expanded does, it could cause some trouble in expanded format.
I don't know. I think expanded. I mean, I don't know that much about expanded. I guess I probably know more than most people about expanded. Reggie Drake was very good, and I guess there are evolution decks in expanded. There's like ability lock and item lock, so that's like bad for this, I guess. And so like you need to kind of get set up before your opponent, and that can be hard to do. And like I guess evolutions are very good, but they're also like good just basic decks, so this like is like useless against those. Pairing it with the other
Yes.
Archeops, you're also sacrificing getting an Archeops into play, which could be okay at times. And again, this is Archeops without Lugia because Lugia gets colorless Pokemon into play. So if you're playing
Right.
like Iron Thorn's Archeops, which is I think a thing, or something like that, then you could get value out of it. But again, you are sacrificing in a regular Archeops, which is kind of bad. So it's interesting. I think it has value in expanded. I think it will see some play. Um, but it kind of depends what you're up against, right? There are lots of decks where it's just not
Yeah.
super useful that often, right? Like reducing, also looking at expanded, because in standard, you have EXs which have really high HP. Same thing with Mega EXs, even higher HP, but you
Right.
devolve them, they lose so much HP. They lose a prize or two, but they
Yeah.
lose most of their HP. But an expanded devolving a VMAX or V-Star to a V is like, I mean, it's certainly losing HP, but it's like 60 or something, as opposed to like 300 or something.
Right. Although if you get the knockout, you still get the well, no, it's
Yeah.
two prizes. It's
Well,
not
yeah, no,
you
you
lose
still
one,
get the
but it's still
two.
multi
Yeah,
prizes.
earn a V
So
star, yeah, which is
right,
like Reggie Draco.
stays the stays the same in prizes. So yeah, it's a fun card. You're right. It's probably not going to be all that reasonable to make it work though.
Yeah.
That's what I think, which is probably true.
Yeah. I will say I think pretty similarly of the Archeops to you, but I think very differently of the Tortuga. Tortuga, I think, is super good. Well, I don't think it's super good. It's number 10 on my list, but I think it's pretty good. Theoretically super good if you set it up. It's from what set? Okay, I found it. Black Bolt. It's a stage 1. It does evolve from a fossil, but it's like a stage 1. So you can get into play. You can't really search out fossils, but if you play 4 fossils, like, it's doable. It's not like impossible. And it's not your main attacker either, I don't think. But for 1 water on a
Yeah.
stage 1 here, you do Echoes of Ruin is the translation I have here. Oh, it's covered up on mine. So it does 30 for each item in your opponent's discard pile, which is a good chunk of damage. I was looking through how many items are in decks, and it's like 15 or so, which is like solid, and they'll be being played a lot. So your opponent's going to prioritize playing them in the early game, or if they don't, like if you're just like pseudo item locking them by just having a Pokemon in your deck, that's like super good. So either way, that's a win-win. I think I said that wrong, but whatever. So anyway, it's a card that is going to be doing solid damage, not necessarily insane damage. I mean, if they have like 10 items in this card, it's super good. But if they have like
Yeah.
not that many items in this card, it's still pretty good. It's still like a solid stage 1. You look at something like Festival Lead, which is not like that good, but it's okay. Or like Ethan's, that's a little better. That's this is not doing quite as much damage, but it's a stage 1. It's a fossil though, so there's some awkward aspects to
Yeah.
it, but it is workable, I think. And as a secondary attacker, like kind of threatening your opponent's resources in a way, it's very good. And the stage 2s are also pretty solid. The 1 boosts damage, the 1 wall special energy, so you have a lot of versatility here, and I think it's a solid package. You could put it with luminous energy in like something like Dragapult or something like that. So, I think Tortuga is like pretty solid. I don't think it's insane. But you compare it to, Traveler and Scarbador, which was insane, really. For 1 psychic on a stage 1, it's very similar. This does a little more damage, I guess. It's a little, there's some changes. It is a fossil, so it's definitely worse, but I think it's a very decent card. I expected to see some play. I mean, I definitely think it's better than the Archeops. I mean, it's literally like the reason you think Tortuga is bad is because it's a fossil, right?
Well, yeah. Here's my what I'll say against it. I don't think it can be a secondary attacker because it evolves from a fossil.
Um,
Because
I don't know.
because you if you want, like, because let's say it's secondary attacker, that means you probably should have 2 Tortugas, but now you probably need 4 of the fossils, maybe
Yeah, but I think
3,
that's okay
because
because like it's deck space. Ultimately, I think fossils are really cool. I'm not gonna lie, they're like bad, but they're really funny because you can do some weird things with them. Because they're like
yeah,
Pokemon, but they're like not Pokemon. And you can like play them. You can attach tools to them. You can do some weird stuff with them. Um, I think like like sacrificing a couple of deck slots is like kind of bad. But I mean, you look at, like Charizard, that's a bunch of deck slots in Dragapult, so they're different, right? But this isn't Charizard,
yeah.
but
I mean, I think to play the Tortuga, I think it's going to come down to, is there a Caracasta viable?
I guess.
Um,
I don't know. I think that I
it,
mean the Chuchuga is like its attack's good, right?
it
It's
is.
not insane, but it's pretty good for if this was not a fossil, it would be really, really good. I'm thinking a fossil is worse. I've heard some people say fossils are just like unwork. I mean, you might think this is like fossils are an unworkable mechanic, but it's not like it's been proven because we haven't actually had good fossil evolutions, right? They've mostly been really bad, except for like Archeops, which is like special. So, um,
Right.
which isn't like doesn't evolve from a fossil, so that doesn't count. So, it's just kind of weird to talk about.
Well,
And yeah,
so here's what I'll just say, because I know we're getting on here. I think if you're going to play Tortuga, you're going to play the Caracasta, right? Because that's the stage 2 that evolves from it, and you prevent damage and effects from attacks
yeah. So
with
you're
your
talking about
opponent's
the new
Pokemon.
Caracasta, yeah.
Yeah, the new Caracasta. I don't know what the old one is. You can tell me
Uh,
that. But did it have any special energy attached? So potentially, if that ability helps you sometimes, then you have a reason to play that. And then, of course, you have the good attack of the Tortuga, and you have the good potential wall for some matchup through the Caracasta. So you're attacking with Tortuga, and you kind of, because you're going to have at least 1 copy, I assume, of the Caracasta, so you can flash that out if it becomes the right play in your game.
Yeah, and the other Caracasta is from Stellar Crown here. I actually don't know what the Tortuga does, but I assume it's really bad. Yeah, it is bad. But the Caracasta here, it increases damage done to evolutions, by your opponent's active evolution Pokemon by 30 from your Pokemon. So that's like pretty solid. It's not always useful, but it can be really good in a good amount of occasions. It's not like in Dragon Ball, you're doing 200, boosting that to 230 to like evolutions isn't like necessarily the number you're looking for, but it's not bad. I mean, 30 extra damage. I mean, it plays Monkey Dory, which is like bench damage and healing, but it's I mean, it's useful. And as just like a card you can toss in there, I think it's good. So I think the overall package is pretty good. I have it as the number 10 card. I don't think it's insane,
Yeah.
but I think it's all right. I mean, you don't think it's good at all, right? You think it just kind of filler,
I,
right? Maybe not filler,
yeah,
but like bad.
I don't. The fact that it evolves from the fossil, that's the big problem. The attack's good. If it evolved from just a regular basic Pokemon, then then I think it would be a top 10 card for me probably. Um, and even then, it's still a secondary attacker because it's not going to do big damage most of the time. But like you said, if you either you're doing big damage or you're slowing down your opponent's development, which is always good too. So we'll see. It's a fun card. I'll give you that. So I like it. I'm glad it's there. I'm just not. I don't think either of us are certain. Don't think it's going to be a big card though.
Yeah, I think it could be, or I think honestly, I think it's either going to be like quite good or like not really played at all. Which
Okay.
which could be like not played at all. But it's still kind of cool. Then we have some honorable mentions here. We mentioned Hilda, which is here 11 card. I'll
Yep.
mention Meloetta EX, which can attack turn one going first with its ability. Its attacks 30 for one psychic, it does 110 after that if it's like not switched out, which like is like not that good. Is technically a little bit better than Pekarunt as a donk Pokemon, but like not really because um like you need energy and you need like it's a little more awkward, but it is a little stronger, so you could do that. But then more notably, you can use it with the technical machines, which I really like. Specifically TM Evolution. Going second gives you some really nice plays you can do in standard right now. And yes, you can't use Arven turn one going first, but like I think Meloetta EX is solid there. Um, and again, giving the donk potential is good, and even like just 30 could win you the game if your opponent just starts a Badoo or something. So that donk potential is also nice. In a deck that's like not considering Peck Run or anything like that. So I think Meloetta is like cool. I do like it potentially even in something like Gardevoir, Dragapult. I think it's considerations in those, and those are very good decks already. So um, I do like Meloetta EX. You think it's bad, right? You just think it's just not good enough.
I mean, I do think it's in format. Don't just start a Badoo because you're already going to lose the game with doing that if it going second. And now there's another way it could happen. Here's the bad part, and you'll agree it's bad. I go first. I attack for 30. The next turn I attack again with the big boosted damage, and I do 30 plus 80. So I'm doing what 140 damage. Is that right?
Yeah, between
Over
the two attacks.
two attacks, and I could probably find something that could do 140 on my second turn anyway, or better, right? So
Yeah, well,
it's
that's not like
not
that good. But you're using it like for
no.
utility, like TM Evolution or something.
Yeah, you could. The thing is, you got to get it in play. You got to get in the active. What are you gonna have to play 3 or 4 team evolutions because you have to draw into it?
Maybe like something like I was thinking more like a bunch of town stores, like a couple extra town, like a couple town stores or something. And if you don't get it, it's whatever. You'd be in a pretty similar position to what you'd be in anyways. So, it's like all
Yeah.
right. It's not like some huge liability, right? It has 200 HP. It's a little low, but it's not squawkabilly, right? So, um,
No,
I mean, I guess
but
it
the
is low.
attacks.
Like it gets one shot by Dragapult, which isn't amazing, but I think it's like it's fine enough. I think it's a um, it's a cool I think it's a cool utility Pokemon. Again, I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Look, it's going to be a bit. If you want to attack first with the TM evolution, let's say, I like that, but you're really swinging big with it, right? That's the thing. And
Yeah.
you're gonna miss more times than you're gonna get a hit, right?
Um,
So that's
I don't know. It's
I
not like
think.
that hard to pull off. But yeah,
Uh,
it depends how much you dedicate to it as well. And then we can move
right.
on though. I don't think there's too much to say. And then we got
Oh,
my
but you do have to, if you want to go for it, you got to dedicate a bunch of deck slots. That's the problem. You make your deck weaker.
Yeah, a few deck slots. But anyways,
All
then
right,
we
good.
have
Go on.
my last card. We're going to move on to Mandibuzz, my final honorable mention here. This is as the ability. I can't read it, but anyways, if once during a turn, you can look at your opponent's hand and then put a 7
Yeah.
HP Pokemon or less you find there onto the bench. It has like okay stats outside of that. But
Yeah.
it's a cool ability for two reasons, or I guess three reasons. One, you can look at your opponent's hand. That's useful for different situations. I guess
Yeah.
I mean it has two aspects. You look at their hand, which can let you decide whether you want to Iono or not, or whether you're safe or relatively safe outside of top decks to go for a certain plays, like a boss trapping play or something like that. Switch to stall play, different things like that. So that's useful. And then the second thing is you actually get the Pokemon onto their bench. You don't have a choice actually. You have to get it if you find it, but like presumably they'd play it if they actually wanted it into play. So that's fine. And then it allows you to one, get it stuck, or two, probably well, technically you could trigger an ability or like bypass an ability like Hawlucha, but that's very niche. But then also it allows you to go and get something into play that you can knock out as well. So you can trap something, knock it out, get more knowledge. It does a lot of different things. It's a stage one. It's relatively smashable, but not like that. I mean, it is some commitment, but I think it's like solid value in a wide variety of decks. Specifically, it's really good in control, which isn't that good, but I think it's like okay, honestly, in something like Dragapult, where you are going after bench Pokemon. And also, hand knowledge is always good. And that deck already has, the Dragapult line itself. You have a bit of an engine. You have a powerful attack that is like somewhat versatile. So I think it could go in something like that. Dragapult obviously has lots of good different options, but I think Mandibuzz is solid there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly something like Dragapult is good where it can take out something on the bench, so you can get something down. That it looks in their hands, so it's limited to what it can do. Obviously, if your opponent's playing it, they either have this evolved, or at least they have the basic down, so you know to work around that. If you have a basic, you don't want it to get into play through it. You got to make sure you discard it. I'm gonna ask you a question. If your opponent's bench is full, can you still use the ability?
No, you cannot. I'm pretty sure. I can't see it, but I'm pretty sure you
It
cannot use the
once during
ability.
a turn. Well, it says once during a turn, you may have your opponent reveal their hand. That's period.
Oh,
Then
maybe.
choose a basic Pokemon. So, because my
Oh, I
point
guess
is,
you
if
probably could then.
because for control, which is really what it's there for, as something with
That's
control,
stuff.
right? And I'm glad it wasn't in format with Snorlax, right? Because that would have been we didn't need more things for that. Um, although we had the supporter that was better, but
Oh yes, I'm
maybe
looking. It's translated differently in Limitless, so it depends how it's worded. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I'd guess not, but I don't know.
so it's a big if you're playing control deck, it's a big deal, right? How good it is for control. Because if you can only look if once your opponent fills their bench, you can't look at their hand, then it's definitely a hit to the card, right? So,
Mhm.
it's an interesting card though, and it can have some value. I would agree.
Yep. Oh, then you have your last card, right?
Yeah, the Alamo Mola, I guess, is
You
it
got it.
lies
You
off
nailed it.
my tongue. So 110 HP on a single price basic, retreat cost one. It with a not good attack, 3 energy will But Gentle Fin's ability once during a turn, if it's the Pokemon's the active spot, you can put a basic with 70 HP or less from your discard pile onto your bench. So there's a lot of good evolution decks that evolves to the EXs, and your EX gets knocked out. You have something set up, boom, you can send up, but now but you still have to get things set up so you can keep evolving for the next turn. Or if you have a single prize deck, it's even a bigger deal, right? Because then you're always getting knocked out every turn. You have to repeat like 6 times in the game. So it's just potentially a good card, right? Because you're getting a lot of these EXs evolve. The stage twos ones evolve from a basic that's 70 HP or less. So it's nice to be able to kind of reset things as they get knocked out with this.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a card. I'm playing Cynthia's right now, which is finally getting fixed in live. Kind of, it's not an issue really, but so yeah, I could consider it there. Which I think Cynthia's Spiritomb is like super good. Sometimes you kind of needs to play into it, but like you can do huge damage with Cynthia's Spiritomb, and you kind of want to recover it, and so I think a little a low Momola here could be really solid there. You need like air balloon or something, but that's fine. I
Yeah.
mean, you probably want that anyways. So um, I think it's a cool card here. Definitely probably would I think it would have been my 13th card. Not sure. I don't have the list, but um, yeah, I do think it's a good card here for different decks. It's not like super powerful, but it's solid value. Um, and it's not big commitment. It's like one spot, one slot in a deck, one slot on your bench. Is
Yeah.
the Pokemon you're committing your Air Balloon to, which probably is fine, or using Latias EX, but it's useful. Ultimately, recovering like weak HP Pokemon in the middle of the game like usually isn't super good, but it's like not terrible. Your opponent might be able to pick them off, but ultimately you need them in play potentially. So there'll be times when you need it. It's good enough. I think it'll see a little bit of play. Again, not like super powerful, but it's all right.
Yeah, and look, I think we have Night Stretcher now, which gets a Pokemon for the discard pile into your hand. Since we have that, it makes us a little less valuable. I believe the Night Stretcher rotates first, so then this will pick up in value depending what else gets reprinted. So, I think it'll have some value in some decks. Is that kind of card, which there's a bunch of cards I think that fall into that description, right? It's got some value in some decks. Is probably kind of general outside of a couple really good cards, Air Balloon, Tool Scrapper. The rest of them are all kind of situational cards for them. I would say.
Yeah, but I do think I will say this set as a whole I think is pretty good. I mean, I don't think it's insane, but looking at them together as two sets, the top cards are quite good. There are some like solid universal cards, and there's some solid support Pokemon as well that like could kind of be deck build arounds. I don't think it has a flashy main attacker, but it has some decent cards. I don't know if you agree, if you think it's like a bad set, but I think I think it's good. Um,
No, I think it's a good set. Some people probably will say it's not a good set because there's not a new big attacking deck.
yeah.
But that's okay. I don't need a new big attacker that pushes things aside. So
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't
think this
mind one of
brings.
those. We haven't had one of those in a while. I mean, we got like Marnews,
Yeah,
but I'm not a huge Marnews fan. I don't think you think Marnews. I mean, Marnews isn't like broken. It's like it's pretty good, but Destin Rivals doesn't have. It had some pretty solid attackers, but
yeah, a couple new attackers in the game would be good, but we'll see what happens with,
yeah, we
with
got
the
Jellison, I guess.
later
So
sets.
it's cool. Not really, but it's here.
Yeah, well, we got Tortuga, right? That's the big
That's
attacker
true. That's true.
in your mind. So,
Pilouetta too. Donk. Every game's gonna be a donk game.
yeah, we don't need that. So, anyway, so a solid set of cards for sure. I'm looking forward to. And there's some other cards that are not as good that I think are fun cards. So to mess around with, but we don't need to talk about that now. So I think we're both looking forward to the new cards coming out. Let us know in the comments on our videos on our YouTube channels, Uncommon Fossil and 10 types, what you think, what cards you think are the top 10, particularly what cards we missed, right? Because that's always the most interesting discussion there. And we're all looking forward to Black Bolt and White Flare coming out in the next few days. So thank you, and like and subscribe and all that stuff, and check us out on the podcast apps as well. So
Yep, we're
take care.
excited to see you in the next episode.